Competitive intelligence sounds interesting, right? While the phrase might conjure images of cloaks and daggers or even the desire to listen to the theme from your favourite spy movie, competitive intelligence isn't a fairy tale. It's a real business function you could be using to learn more about your competitors' products, their marketing strategies, and even your own organisation. So what exactly does competitive intelligence or CI involve? Well, that depends on how you or the leaders of your organisation choose to structure the function. Through our conversations with experts, we know competitive teams are usually small. So small that in many orgs there's not even a dedicated CI role. Instead, it's often built into another role, product marketing. Whether this is the case for you or not, it's likely to affect how the job looks day to day. That's because product marketers are very interested in finding out what their customers think of them. Crafting the perfect positioning for your product with snappy messaging that everyone can understand is a key goal. For that reason, customer research is a key responsibility, and one that tends to take priority over learning about your competitors. In product marketing, competitive intelligence is a means to an end, one that gives you a better understanding of how you can serve your customers. But some organizations warrant a dedicated CI professional or even an entire CI team. In cases like this, the role can be different. There will usually be another team somewhere else in the business working on the product messaging, making sure everything's aligned with customer needs. With these responsibilities taken care of, CI pros really can be all about their competitors. That means broader responsibilities and a more versatile CI function. As the resident expert on a number of key competitors, your value will come from the unique, expert points of view you'll be able to provide on things like product roadmaps, leadership strategy meetings, sales enablement, competitive positioning, and even content creation. But crucially, even this competitor-centric advice comes back to the customer in the end. Remember, at the end of the day, you're competing for customers. The goal is not to make your competitors look bad, and strategies that focus more on the competitor than on the customer tend to lose out in the long run. So whether it's you making that connection clear or people in other teams teasing out what your finding means for your customers, this work has to be done if your intel is going to help your organization succeed. All right, so we understand what competitive intelligence involves, but how is it actually done? In our Competitive Intelligence Trends report launched last November, we found out how pros like to gather data. The most common methods were press releases and media mentions, manual checks of competitor websites, and scans of competitors' social media accounts. But just because these methods were the ones used most often, it doesn't mean they're necessarily the most effective or the most efficient. Other more complicated or time-consuming methods of gathering information only make sense if they match up with your org, its industry, and its goals. But if they do, they might prove to be the best option for you. Here are some examples. Google Alerts are a free tool that you can use to automate some of the data collection process. But there is a learning curve. You need to get good at filtering signal from noise and adjust the sensitivity and frequency of your alerts until you have something truly useful. Tracking more keywords with more frequent alerts means a more sensitive indicator. You're less likely to miss things, but you invite more noise into your inbox. Customer win-loss interviews make for another great example, but again, there's a learning curve. And these can be logistically expensive. You'll have to incentivize the customer to take the call in the first place. You'll have to learn to facilitate these conversations without spooking the customer. And in the end, many businesses end up turning to third parties to make these interviews work. They're tricky to have, but they can be incredibly valuable when done right. Finally, and all credit goes to Postscript's Mindy Regnell for alerting us to this one. Competitor help documentation can be an incredible resource, if your competitors publish it, that is. If you work in SaaS or e-commerce, there's a good chance your competitors are posting things like change logs to their website or documentation on how to use their product. These are great ways to read in plain language what's changed about their product since the last release and what features they're excited about. Okay, so let's recap. Competitive intelligence, or CI, is the practice of researching your business's competitors to help increase your competitive advantage and increase your market share. Most often, CI is either bundled into the product marketing function or exists as a role in its own right. Dedicated CI professionals have the time and resources to become very familiar with their core competitors, but still shouldn't neglect the role of the customer when offering their expert point of view. When it comes to research methods, there's obviously the low-hanging fruit, but there are also likely to be more advanced or more time-consuming methods of gathering intel that are well suited to your org's unique goals and situation. Find out what these are and leverage them for best success. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if there's anything you'd like to learn about competitive intelligence, analysis or strategy, let us know in the comments below. And give the video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and we'll see you next time.